everyone, we're here today with Marc Cantavella, a managing director of AndorraInc company, a local service that is specialized in relocations of high net worth individuals to the Principality of Andorra. So how are you doing today, Marc?
Pleasure, Iuliia. I'm doing fine. Here, as you see, we are in Park Hotel in the beautiful Andorra.
Yes.
And looking forward to discuss with you about the residency process, the tax system, and how Andorra works mainly.
Can you just, in a couple of sentences, explain this country? What is it like?
Yeah, I would say it is really easy to define. Andorra, for me, is a hidden gem, which means it's a country that not much people know, but it can offer you a lot. It can offer you an efficient tax system, safety, and a good lifestyle.
Actually, a few years ago, nobody was talking about Andorra at all. And what has changed and why it becomes so desired for the tax niche, let's say like this?
I mean, first of all, what I think is merit of Andorra, because Andorra can offer a lot, that's clear. But I would say also the merit of many countries, which means France is raising taxes, Spain is raising taxes, UK is sort of falling apart, Netherlands is raising taxes. So at the end, yes, Andorra is a really good destination, but also because of the merit of the politicians of all the countries, Andorra is becoming more and more attractive.
If someone moves to Andorra tomorrow, what is like in the terms of culture, lifestyle, and maybe even to compare with the neighborhood countries like France, Spain, or even Monaco, how it looks like?
Yeah, there's a lot of people that say that Andorra is like a tiny Switzerland, but I sort of disagree because at the end, Andorra has a lot of culture from South France and the area of Catalonia in Spain. So I think it's a really mix of Mediterranean and Pyrenees culture. So it's far from Switzerland. The main language in the countries is Catalan, which is the official language of the countries. Then the co-official language is Spanish and French. So yes, a mix of culture of South Europe and Catalonia. So it's far from Switzerland. Even it looks alike because it's in the middle of the mountains. Even some architecture is the same. It's pretty different. So you can expect, I would say, warmer people that you may expect in Switzerland, and but still a little bit of unique behavior from the mountains. So it's still a little bit closed, but at the same time warmer than Switzerland.
And how does the tax system in Andorra works for the companies and for the individuals?
Yes, one of the main advantages of Andorra is the tax system. That's one of the main reasons why people move to Andorra, apart from lifestyle. It's one of the most efficient tax system in Europe right now, because it only tax companies or individuals at a tax rate of 10%, which is one of the lowest tax rate in Europe. Just to compare, you can have a tax rate in Cyprus of 12.5%, a tax rate in Bulgaria of 10%. But then having this tax rate, it's pretty unique. It's just Bulgaria, some special tax regime in other countries, but it's really low. At the level of the company, it is pretty simple and straightforward. You pay 10% on the profits. So you have income as expenses, and then you pay 10% of the profits. And a pretty unique thing is that when your company has profit and you distribute yourself dividends at your personal level, you don't pay taxes twice. Because as you may know, in most of the European Union countries, then you pay the corporate tax, but then when you want to get the money for your company, you pay the personal income tax. So here in Andorra, it's pretty unique. You just pay corporate tax, and then dividends from an Andorran company to an individual, it's free of taxes. So that's pretty unique. There's nothing like that right now in Europe for this. And then at personal level, you pay 10% on most of your income, professional income, labor income, you pay 10%. Then dividends, interest, you pay 10%, dividends from abroad, not from Andorra. And the most important thing, and that's why there is so many wealthy people moving to Andorra, is like there is an exemption on capital gains derived from the selling of shares or funds which are listed, which, to make it in a more plain language, if you own less than 25% of a company and you sell that company, in Andorra there are no taxes, so 0%. So imagine that you buy shares on Amazon, Google, Tesla. You can sell these shares and not pay any capital gain. So that's why there are a lot of traders or high net worth individuals that move to Andorra, and even if there is this 10% tax rate, they have full exemption on their income, and they pay few taxes. So, yeah, as I mentioned, a really tax-efficient system that if you compare it to any European Union or Europe country, I would say is top 3, top 5.
It's very interesting. And Andorra is very well known for, it's kind of a cliche that it's tax haven place. How would you comment it from the technical perspective, and are there any criteria to get it? Or
currently, the definition of tax haven from a legal point of view means that a country is not exchanging financial information or it have bank secrecy. Which means that imagine that you open a bank account in Andorra you are trying to open a bank account in Andorra just to hide your business or try to hide your wealth. That is no longer happening. Andorra is no longer a tax haven, having this definition of a country which is not exchanging financial information, but it's a country with low taxes, that's no longer a tax haven. A tax haven is a country with bank secrecy. Andorra doesn't have bank secrecy. It has bank secrecy in the past during many years, but since 2012, they exchange financial information. That is good because Andorra is meeting all the international standards of the OECD, European Union. So you are moving to a country which is aligned with the international standards. So if you bring money to Andorra or if you do business in Andorra, then you are not going to have problems if you want to use that money outside Andorra, because there are some countries or some Caribbean islands that, of course, they have bank secrecy or they are not exchanging information, but once that money enter into that system, you are not going to use that money. It's just money that is not going to be accepted anywhere. Andorra is fully compliant, it's no longer a tax haven, and it's a country that you can bring the money even if you are not living here, because they exchange information and the banks are professional, compliance, and it's meeting all the international standards. So no longer a tax haven, even if Andorra has low taxes.
So what is the most common impossible request you received ever from people interested in Andorra, like where you can say normally it's impossible, no, this is not, like no way?
Although Andorra is a really welcoming country, so almost everyone is welcome here, there are some sectors that could struggle in order to open a bank account because, just because at the end the banks for reasons they don't want to open a bank account. So sort type of influencers, certain nationalities, because at the end, of course, the banks are following the international compliance rules, and also Andorra is part of the World Health Organization, so I saw in the past some people that wanted to apply for Andorra residency. They were really good profile, very strong profiles, but in terms of vaccination, they were not following the international vaccination calendar, and that could be an issue. So sometimes even you want to live in Andorra, you have to understand that Andorra has its own legislation, the banks has its own internal regulations. So yeah, certain sectors, certain nationalities, or certain health conditions could be not a good match for Andorra. So at this stage, I can help them because it's the legislation of the country or the banks, and I can do nothing for that.
So a lot of people are confusing the tax residence with the residence cards. Can you tell a little bit more the difference between those two terms?
Yes, this is a common mistake. You have to bear in mind that the green card or the residency card is just an administrative residency, which means it's a permit that allows you to live in the country. You can live in Andorra through a passive residency, active residency, digital nomad residency, and this is regulated by the immigration qualified law, but it is not strictly tax residency. So it's just a permit for living in the country. Contrary, the tax residency is regulated in the Andorran personal income tax law, and it says that someone who is already resident in Andorra and is living in Andorra more than 183 days or has its center of economical interest in Andorra, or has his wife, kids, or husband living in Andorra, they will become tax resident. So at the end, the administrative residency is a green card, is a permit, is something that you can have and depends on paperwork and depends on administrative procedures. And then the tax residency depends on facts, which means you are resident in Andorra for a period of 3 years, administrative resident, but each year you can be tax resident or not, which means that if 1 year you're spending a lot of time in Spain, maybe you are not going to become tax resident in Andorra because you are spending all your time in Spain or in France. But if another year you're spending at least half a year and you have business in Andorra, you have wealth in Andorra, and your family is in Andorra, that year you're going to become tax resident in Andorra. So it's really important to distinguish this, because there's a lot of people who think, no, I'm resident in Andorra now, so I have my passive residency, I have my active residency. But then if you are not really living in Andorra, you can consider not tax resident. And that could be not a problem in Andorra, because at the end Andorra is happy that you pay taxes here, not being here, but could be a problem for any foreign tax authorities claiming back your tax residency in their country of origin. So imagine that you are a Spanish who moved to Andorra, typical case, and then you spend a lot of time in Spain and you have an administrative residence in Andorra. Even if you can pay taxes here, then Spain can claim your tax residency, and you're going to have a big problem because you can't prove that you were tax resident in Andorra according to the personal income tax. So that's really important. It's not just get the green card, it's also become tax resident. And for becoming tax resident, you have to behave a little bit, and you have to live in Andorra, invest in Andorra, and have your family in Andorra.
I'm aware that high net worth individuals are requesting more and more passive residency. So can you explain me, is it true and how it works?
Yes, the passive residency is an administrative residency which is focused either on high net worth individuals or sports people or athletes. The passive residency for high net worth or retirees, it's called a non-lucrative residency, which is a residency for someone who comes to Andorra to retire, so that they are living from passive income. You are not allowed to work in Andorra with that residency, so that's really important to be focused that you can work with that residency, but it allows you to live in the country, invest in the country, and have all the advantages from Andorra. How to apply for the residency? This residency core requirements are having clean criminal records for any country, so they will require you for the criminal records of your country of origin, country of residency, and that criminal records must be clean. Then you should also provide from a good standing certificate issued by an Andorran bank, which means that you must bring capital to an Andorran bank, at least the 300% of the Andorran minimum salary, which is around currently 50K, so it's pretty easy requirement. Then secure a residency, which means either rent an apartment or purchase a property, which is also necessary, of course, to have the residency here, and having a private insurance, because as retired or as someone who is not carrying out an activity, you are not going to pay social security. So you need an Andorran insurance, which will cover your stay here. With that, you will go to an interview with the government. So you gather all these documents. It's a process that takes more or less 1-2 months. And when you gather all these documents, you will go to the passive residency department, and a civil servant will review your dossier. And there will be an interview. That interview, they will mainly check the documents, ask you some questions. And once you pass this interview, the day after, you will have a medical review, which is really simple, straightforward. You don't need fasting. There is no blood test. So it's something pretty easy. Once this happens, you're going to have the green card issue more or less 1 month later. And once the green card is issued, you have 6 months to invest in the country. What is invest in the country? Is invest at least 800K. 800K in Andorran eligible assets. The Andorran eligible assets are either real estate, a financial investment like funds, unit links, or even crypto funds in one bank, or also OICs, which is a collective investment vehicle, which is similar to asset caps. So mainly bringing capital to the country, either in real estate or financial investments. The most common path used to be real estate, but now, thanks to Andorran banks, and they are offering more products, so the financial investment is also becoming quite popular. So with this interview, this gathering of documents, and with investment, you will become passive resident in Andorra, and if you are staying in Andorra a qualified amount of time, you will be able to become tax resident in Andorra, which is, of course, giving a lot of advantages.
And regarding to the bank system, what is the role of the bank is in the process of obtaining the Andorra residence?
The banks play a really important role in the passive residency request, because you need to have a good standing certificate, which is a certificate saying that you have enough resources to live in the country. And also they can help you to fulfill the 800K requirement through financial investment in an Andorran bank. Currently, the bank system in Andorra is really narrow. You can only choose 3 banks: Andbank, Morabank, and Creant, which are 3 of them local and Andorran banks. There are no international banks in Andorra. And the three of them are private banks. So if you're looking for a commercial bank or a retail bank, I would say Andorra is not your place. But if you're looking for a private bank with bespoke services, private banking services, and bankers that you can contact with them, discuss about the investment, having discretionary investments, Andorra is a good place. Currently, these three banks can have really competitive fees compared to Switzerland, Luxembourg, and also, for instance, if you are an American, you don't have any special onboarding, contrary to what you may have in Monaco or Switzerland, and they have, I would say, a really important role in your process of residency in Andorra. And they are all of the three banks are really good options. And as I always said, if you have to choose one of these banks, I will choose the bank that you have, the banker that you trust more. So what is important is the banker is not the bank. And currently, they play a super important role in all the process. And how to open a bank account? That's the question. You have to have a clean profile, which means you have to do legal business, nothing sketchy. Identify yourself. Of course, you have to bring like a copy of your passport, copy of your last 2 tax returns, utility bills of your country of origin, and have a clean profile. Be transparent, explain who you are, and then you're not going to have any problem with opening the bank account. And as banks are private, the minimum deposit, more or less, for opening a bank account, either as non-resident or as a resident, will be around $500,000 for having private banking services.
Okay, and have the requirements evolved for the last years of entering the Andorra? Is there any changes?
Yeah.
Have been?
Unfortunately, there are many changes. Andorra right now, it's strictly speaking, is dying from success, which means there's a lot of people moving to the country, and Andorra, they want to keep the population at a certain level, and they are making the process of applying for the residency more and more challenging and tricky. That means that, as an example, when I moved to Andorra 8 years ago, the deposit for the active residency was just 15K. Then they increased it in 2023 to 50K. So it's just a big increase for the deposit. And then the passive, when I moved to Andorra, it was just 400K for investment. Then it was 600K till 2025, till December 2025. And now it's going to increase to 800K. So as you see, in a period of 7-8 years, the law changed a lot. And they want to make the requirements more and more strict for a logical reason, because not everyone fit in this country. Andorra is small. And at the end, most of the politicians are saying that they want to limit the population in Andorra to 1,100 citizens. So now Andorra wants to bring people. Andorra wants to attract new residents, but quality residents. So they want people who is engaging with the community, which is spending money in the country. And what they don't want is people who are not really living here, who are doing sketchy business. So they want, they are asking for more quality, which is totally fine. And that implies higher requirements, more commitment to the country, and probably higher entry barriers.
So you're supposed to think that this trend will continue, yes, in upcoming years?
Possibly, yes. Again, it's not just the merit of Andorra, it's the merit of the other countries. Currently, we are seeing clients coming from almost everywhere in the world. We have clients coming from Israel, we have clients from the States, we have clients from the UK, clients from Norway, clients from Ukraine. So at the end, we have clients from all around the world, because there's a lot of challenges right now going around, and Andorra can offer you peace of mind, lifestyle, low taxes. So it's a country that a lot of people, they are really looking for make a move and move to a country like Andorra.
And talking about exactly the lifestyle and peace of mind, how would you describe the healthcare system here in Andorra, especially to compare with Spain, France?
I mean, the healthcare system is really similar to the Spanish and the French one. Quality is good. And then, of course, Andorra is small, so if there is any major issue, you can be derivated to Spanish hospitals or French hospitals. But it has a co-paid system. So in general terms, if you are having any medical situation, you will pay 25%. and the 75% is assumed by the country. So that's the main difference to universal healthcare that you can see in Spain or France. But most of the residents, what they are doing here is like complementary de la cas, which is a kind of insurance that at the end you pay private insurance and the public system, and you are covered 100%. And as per quality, expect something similar to Spain, which has one of the best healthcare system in the world. And again, Andorra has a small hospital. If something big happens, you are even covered outside Andorra. So expect a really strong healthcare system compared to states, Latin America, Africa. So European average, a little bit more.
And what about the other social systems? Like if someone would like to move with a family, how is it here with the schools, with life logistics and everything?
For logistics, is it true that Andorra, it's located in a really unique place? It's in the middle of the Pyrenees, so it doesn't have an airport. So Andorra doesn't have its own airport. There is like an airport in La Seu d'Urgell, which is like the first Spanish city in the border. But that means that if you want to come to Andorra, you will need to drive at least 2 hours and a half from Barcelona, 2 hours and a half, 3 from Toulouse. Or you fly private to La Seu d'Urgell, but it also has a lot of limitations in terms of flying private. So first of all, I have to say, the biggest downside of Andorra, that also can be an advantage, is like a little bit isolated. So it's difficult to reach. Then, apart from that, schools are one of the biggest milestones. There's a lot of people moving to Andorra, so that means that the spots of the private schools are limited. So I've seen many cases during the last 2-3 years of people who wanted to move to Andorra, but then their children, they didn't have a spot in the British school or in the Agora, or the other private school. So at the end, they didn't make the move. And so they decided to move to another country because there were not spots at school. So that's really important. And that's one of the first thing that you have to check when you're moving to Andorra is to see if there are spots at schools that fits with your profile, with your international profile. Having said that, also it's really common in Andorra to have onboarding schools, which means there are residents here that they send their kids to the States, to Switzerland, or other places. So that also could work. And apart from that, schools, logistics, then the lifestyle is a really sporty country. There's a lot of people who move to Andorra for ski reasons, for mountain reasons, trekking, climbing, motorsports. So you will see it's a country which is really sport-oriented. Even the locals, the Andorrans, they are really healthy people. So I would say that's really different to what you can see, for instance, in Dubai or in Monaco. That's more like business-oriented. Andorra is like really family and sports-oriented. So you can be here minding your own business, but then like the culture is more like European and business, not that business oriented, more for retiring or having a healthy lifestyle rather than chase the money like maybe in Dubai or places like that.
So for someone who is interested in moving to Andorra tomorrow, which instructions, like step-by-step instructional advices in upcoming from 6 to 18 months you would give to this person? Like from where to start is better? First
of all, visit Andorra. There's a lot of people that they see super effective tax system, safety, but they have not really been to Andorra ever. It is really important to understand how the country works, which part of the valley are better, how the school works, how the people behave. There's many things to understand. So I really recommend to be around 2 weeks in Andorra to understand how the things work. Second thing, if you have children, again, I will say that see if the school system is according to your expectations, and if you have spots in the schools, that's super important. Third thing, check the real estate market. Andorra used to be a cheap real estate market, but in the last 5 years has increased a lot. Just to compare, currently the prices of the real estate market, either rental or purchase, could be as high as Barcelona. So you have to bear in mind this, which if you are coming from Canada, Singapore, New York, you will find it cheap. But if you're coming from Spain, you're coming from France, it is going to be expensive. So it is really important to see the real estate market, understand the real estate market. And I would say Third thing, find a good advisor that can help you in all the process to open a bank account, to get the residency, to check if the real estate asset is making it has the conditions for purchasing. So all this matters. So have a good advisor that can help you in the process. That's super necessary because at the end, almost all the administrative procedures are in Catalan. Andorra has its own low-key things that you have to understand how it works. So in general terms, visit Andorra, check the schools, understand the real estate market, and get an advisor.
I think that's pretty complex. Thank you, Marc.
You're welcome, and I hope you enjoy the conversation.